Gamercast Network. Video game show number 1.
It's time for the Gamercast Network video game show with your host, M.C. Fragsalot.
Welcome to the Gamercast Network video game show, episode number 1, for Friday, September 1st, 2006. With me today, the strongest man in Silicon Valley, the maker of Shrek 3, Bob Kapinski.
Oh my god, you're recording already?
His nipples predict the future, his belly button devours worlds, Keith Palladino.
Wow, that's grand.
He's recently moved back to civilization and has broadband connectivity to prove it, Chris Ivan.
Hey.
Does anyone know his first name's Chris?
No, it's a new fact that we just revealed to the world right now. We didn't want to confuse everybody because we have too many Chris's. Of course, we've lost all of them, so now we only have Chris Ivan. So for now, he's known as the only Chris now.
I'm victorious! I've won by outlasting the others. I'm king of the Chris Mountain!
And, of course, chat.
Next topic.
Last weekend was the Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle, Washington. Penny Arcade, of course, is the very popular web comic dealing with video gaming. Video Game Show alumni and Microsoft's own Chris Palladino was at PAX. Chris!
Microsoft went to PAX. My personal highlight from PAX was when I got to talk with Mike, who is Gabe from Penny Arcade. He was up there playing Enchanted Arms, which is coming out here soon. It might even be out now, as a matter of fact. And, we were shooting the breeze or whatever, and then he kind of leaned in and he whispered, I'm glad you guys showed up this year.
He gently whispered in your ear, "You look very handsome."
He caressed my cheek. No, he said that he's glad that we came this year. We had a pretty sweet booth. We had all kinds of kiosks running everything from Saints Row demo to Enchanted Arms to Xbox Live Arcade games, the Splinter Cell Double Agent stuff. We had Madden. We had everything. A little couch. We were right there when you first walk in.
Did you go to any of the sessions?
I went to Women in Gaming. That was Friday night.
Nice.
Hot.
Hot chicks? Yeah. That sounds hot, yeah.
See, but it was to fight against that very mindset, so.
Well, were there a lot of booth babes hanging out there?
No.
Or was it all pretty low-key?
It was really cool because it wasn't for media. It wasn't for other industry people. It was for fans. So it was literally kind of hanging out, playing games with people, answering questions, clearing up any questions that they have about it. When is this coming out? What about this price drop that's rumored, blah, 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 blah. I had a blast, and I think anybody who can get to Seattle for next year's PAX, it's supposed to be 3 or 4 times bigger than it was this year. They're moving to a bigger building. I want to say about 20,000 people went, and it was crowded, and it was stinky, and I posted my kind of first impression on gamerscoreblog.com, so give me feedback to let me know if my writing sucks.
Did you go to any of the concerts? Optimus Rhyme or...
No, we were...
Yeah.
MC front a lot.
Mini bosses.
And the mini bosses, I think, played, and the Neskimos might have played. No, I didn't get a chance to go to any concert. We went to a couple discussion panels. The one was decent. It was about fanboys and community. Since we were working, we couldn't go to a lot of the stuff because we were at the booth, manning the booth most of the time. I wandered. Nintendo had a pretty cool booth set up. They had a lot of DSs. Ubisoft had a very large presence. The City of Heroes guys, NCSoft, had a pretty large presence. I've not seen so many copies of Auto Assault running.
Funny, neither has NCSoft.
No one has seen that many copies of Auto Assault running.
So is Penny Arcade Expo going to be the new E3?
It was funny because I was talking to Mike, and I said, you guys are in a pretty good position now that E3 is gone, and he just got this big grin on his face, and he said, yeah, it really doesn't suck to be us. It is. They did a really good job, and this thing's only 3 years old.
Next topic.
All right, the 100 million John Madden. Move over Hollywood, video gaming is the new entertainment king. Fat, bloated EA has announced that the old warhorse of a franchise, Madden 07, which is also flat and bloated, has made over 100 million in its opening week.
Madden's always going to make money because even people who are casual gamers, like the jocks and stuff, college boys who, get drunk and play Madden, it's going to sell.
I picked up 2007 for 360, and
What?
Chris is choking.
What? Why? Yes, excellent purchase for your Microsoft product.
No, I picked it up because I need my one copy of Madden so I can have Maddens for the rest of eternity now.
Yeah, when you buy a new platform, that's the time when you buy a new Madden. So, yeah, so when the Xbox 362, or whatever they're going to call it, 720, so when the Xbox 720 comes out, you can buy your next copy of Madden.
Would the Xbox 720 just be an Xbox? That's a lot of spinning around. Just get dizzy at that point.
Well, there's more EA news. So our worst fears confirmed.
You are my real dad?
Yeah. EA inked this deal with these two advertising companies to start delivering dynamic in-game ads. The first game that they're going to be rolling this out on is Battlefield 2142. So apparently there are billboards in the 22nd century Battlefield.
I was just gonna say, buy new Coke!
Exactly.
Actually, any sports games make sense. I mean,
Yeah, I read something about that, though. They said, like, you're going to be playing Battle for Middle-earth 2 or something, and you're going to see an advertisement for Madden 07 in the background.
People won't like that, and they won't try to push that. They'll just do advertising where they can with the games.
Yeah, because the other thing that people have been commenting on was, well, I wouldn't mind so much if they did that, if it lowered the cost of games, but God knows they're not going to do that.
Yeah, games are going to stay the same exact price they are now. They're going to be pushing advertising now in real time.
I think it's going to be fun when you have to wait for the patch only to update your ads for that month.
Wait, here's a better question: will the ads be destructible? Can you shoot them and blow them up?
Yeah, but you know how it's going to be. They're going to have completely realistic physics where you're going to shoot buildings, going to be able to crumble except for the billboard that was attached to the building.
Yeah, I remember hearing them, something like in PlanetSide, they had the same kind of thing at one point, and when it first came on, everyone could shoot it and you could scratch it up and all that kind of stuff, but then later on they turned that off, so you just shot it and nothing happened.
Next topic.
Air your grievances of Madden.
Madden is pretty much, it is every other game with prettier graphics. My complaints with it, they fixed a couple things, like I like the new kicking, where you do the pull down on the analog, push up on the analog, as opposed to timing when you press A. But they changed the whole layout, the menu configurations, so it's hard as hell to get around now. It's a pain in the butt. And they also made it so you cannot, and apparently this was also on Madden 2006 for the 360, but you cannot play multiple players on one team, which...
Yeah.
Co-op, you mean?
That's...
Really?
Yeah.
That
really
bothered the
sucks.
holy hell out of me, because I know, when I'm done with this, I'm heading over to Todd's house, because we have our Browns franchise. And me, him, and Larry sit around and just get really drunk playing Madden, three of us on the Browns.
Why would they do that? That's retarded.
And then I was just about to honestly return the game, but I hung on to it just because I don't have any other Madden's game. So, but that greatly bothered me.
Next topic.
All right, the Phantom Game Console is once again dead. Phantom Entertainment, formerly Infinium Labs, maker of the much-anticipated Phantom Game Console.
It was not anticipated at all.
And they were not makers. They'd made nothing.
It's anticipated by us, at least. Well, they really haven't made nothing because they've announced they're moving to a software-only platform. So the Phantom is now software.
Well, at least the name makes more sense. Buy our new Phantom console. Get it, huh? Marketing.
Well, it's going to be a software service like Valve's Steam or Microsoft's Live service, because Live is going to be moving to Vista.
As tangible as Steam.
Exactly. So gamers are now going to be able to use Phantom to subscribe to content, make electronic transactions, download games electronically. So, they're going to be trying to compete with Valve, I suppose. So there you go. That's your Phantom update.
So now we got Live, we got GameTap, we got Steam, and we got Phantom.
Yeah, everyone's moving in that direction. Everyone wants to get in on that microtransaction action.
That sounded hot.
Next topic.
All right, making console FPS suck less, if this is possible. All right, now we at the Video Game Show, we already know that, as a rule of thumb, console FPSs suck. All right, well, it appears that Microsoft agrees with us, because rumors floating around the internet this week point towards the release of an enhanced gamepad specifically designed for console FPS titles for the Xbox 360. So, some Xbox hardware manager named Robert S. Walker said that while Microsoft has no plans for future keyboard and mouse support for the 360, they are looking at ways to modify the right analog stick on the controller to make it more conducive to the precise movements used in shooters and various other genres. So, Mr. Rumor Squasher, what do you have to say about that?
There are no plans for mouse or keyboard support on the Xbox 360, but we are looking at ways to change the right analog stick to make it more precise in first-person shooter gaming.
Yeah, but do you mean like a driver update or a whole new gamer pad?
Dude, I don't know. I was just parroting what you said a minute ago.
That was pretty funny.
That was good. That sounded... See, you're good for the job they hired you for. Because that was convincing.
I had seen this same thing before I came on at Microsoft, and I don't know what you could do to a console gamepad to make it more precise.
Make it look like a keyboard and mouse.
I've seen other attempts at this. Remember the Microsoft Sidewinder gamepad that had a third-dimensional... No, it wasn't the Sidewinder. That was like Sidewinder Deluxe Pro or something.
It had that thing where every time you use it, you felt like you were going to break it in half.
It twisted weird. Yeah, it twisted and stuff. Then there was the frag stick controller. Then there's like the glove controller.
The power glove?
It wasn't an actual glove you put on. No. It was like called the Claw or something, and you put your palm on it and you moved your hand in 3D space. No, I'll look into it and see what I can dig up.
All right. So it's official no comment from Chris now, but maybe next week.
Next topic.
All right. Playing with your Wii in private. All right. A marketing firm hired by Nintendo to promote the launch of the Wii is going around the country selecting gamers to be quote-unquote Wii ambassadors. These, quote, Wii ambassadors will host secret Wii
parties.
Yes, it's called.
Yes, the invited guests, they will not know the location of the party until moments before it actually happens. So in essence, this PR firm is what they're trying to do is they're trying to create like Wii raves. So we here at the Video Game Show actually confirmed that Toadstool will in fact appear on the complimentary ecstasy tablets being passed out at the event.
How do you not know about the event moments before? Quick, get to Dallas, dude! I'm in. Go! It's ending today.
Well, I'm curious to know if there's any listeners that were tapped to be Wii ambassadors. I'd like to know how
Dude, you already are a Wii ambassador.
I know.
Oh, Nintendo, I want to like you so much, but you do silly things.
Next topic.
All right, more Microsoft micropayment madness. There are 10 new items available to download through Xbox Live Marketplace for Video Game Show favorite Chrome Hound. Each upgrade is $1.25. See, now things like color patterns that they're selling are fine. If you want to have like a vanity mech, then spend the money and have yourself a
It's my vanity mech.
But where this thing's crossing the line is they're selling gun upgrades that you could play with online, if I understand what I'm reading correctly. So now you could dump money down and have an advantage over the other people who haven't dumped the money.
Well, it's like paying for power leveling. If you play the PC, you're used to it.
Next topic.
Team Fortress 2 Forever. Half-Life 2 Episode 2 will be pushed back until 2007. Now, a game being delayed is hardly noteworthy in this industry. However, when it involves seminal vaporware Team Fortress 2, that's news. So as you already know, Team Fortress 2 is being bundled with Half-Life 2 Episode 2. So this delay now makes it almost 9 years since Team Fortress 2 was first announced. And to let you know how long this has been going on...
9 years?
9 years.
I'm good at this game! Another one!
It won the Game Critics Award for Best Action Game at the 1999 E3.
So I guess you're saying...
What?
So I guess you're saying Duke Nukem Forever has some competition.
Yeah, exactly. So if you were in college now, this game was first proposed while you're still in elementary school.
9 years ago. Dude, 9 years ago.
Wow.
That's
Holy
long,
dude.
That's a long time
Thanks for
ago.
making me feel old.
Yeah, if you're 29 now, that means it was announced when you were 20.
Way to go, Captain Math.
By the way, I'm 29.
If you were 8 right now, you were not even alive.
You were not even that drink your mother shouldn't have had yet.
That was good.
That's
That was
staying in.
good. I like that one.
Next topic.
Bumblefoot Smackdown. Federal District Court Judge James Brady issued a preliminary injunction against a Louisiana ban on violent video games. See, now what's particularly notable about this ban, as opposed to like the Illinois one from last week...
Illinois? Zzz. Illinois. How long have you lived here, Tom?
I live in Ohio's.
Oh, God.
That was good. That was a good
That was
comeback.
good.
All right, so what's particularly notable about this case is that this law was partially crafted by none other than Bumblefoot the Insignificant. Doug Lowenstein of the Entertainment Software Association, after the injunction, said, throughout consideration of this legislation, we said this outcome was inevitable, and that given the well-documented problems facing the state of Louisiana, resources could be spent in a more productive way. In the post-Katrina era, voters should be outraged that the legislature and governor wasted their tax dollars on this ill-fated attack on video games. The irony is that only a year ago, the state enacted legislation to give video game companies tax credits to locate in the state, only to turn around and create an utterly inhospitable environment. So there you go, people from Louisiana. That whole Katrina thing takes a second seat to trying to ban video games.
My analogy is you're putting fish in your toilet bowl knowing fully well that you're about to flush within the week.
What?
I'm working on that one. Hang on.
Yeah, the PhD student's got to give it a minute. Hold on.
Oh, I got it.
There's a reason you're not on the show anymore, Chris. I hate to tell you.
Next topic.
All right, XNA has been all the buzz on the interwebs the last 2 weeks. It's a new software development platform for game developers. Here with a quick summary of what XNA is Chad Hantak.
Okay, so XNA, it's a framework for basically making games for Windows and the Xbox 360.
What does that mean? Can I make games right now?
Well, you can make games right now, but unless you really know programming in DirectX, it's probably going to be a little difficult.
So the kids can't write games themselves unless they say already know C++?
Well, right now, making games on Windows, you got to know like DirectX and some programming and C++ to get something decent on Windows. But what XNA is going to have is basically these simple tools to make a game that you can run on Windows, and then, if you want to, put it right on the Xbox 360.
So I don't have to know DirectX if I want to make games using XNA?
No, it has a whole new different library.
So, like, I could pick it up and make a game.
That's what they want, basically, is you
I thought you
make
were
a
say
game
that's
without...
to be debatable.
Debatable? Not debatable. I mean, it's basically the goal is to have a whole drag-and-drop kind of interface for making games. You can, like, click in things and drop things, click in your model of your...
half-naked anime babe?
And
with a
make
sword?
A game. Yes, half-naked anime babe.
With a snake.
With a snake.
On a plane.
On a plane.
With the minigun.
Sure.
Because they have to have a minigun.
And a goat sidekick.
Of course. Well, duh.
So it's really
You couldn't have handled that any better.
I've never done this show again. Don't ask me to do the show next week.
Just website, for God's sake. No.
Tom's making me talk.
No, it's really because a lot of platform, a lot of the game stuff out there. There's a lot of homebrew out there trying to make their own games, circumvent things so they can get things running, like getting Linux on the Xbox, Nintendo DS, kids trying to hack their way into it. Not kids, but developers and the whole hobbyist kind of thing. And XNA really is a way for hobbyists to actually have a legitimate way of getting their stuff on the system. And it's kind of being backed by Microsoft and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure
this is kind of a Microsoft thing then?
Yes, it is being backed by Microsoft. You can actually go onto some forums, talk to the actual XNA developers, get feedback from them. I mean, they are targeting more than just the hobbyists. They're also targeting like the indie shareware developers. They want them to go make some games for Xbox Live and that kind of stuff.
There's a whole path for migration. If you do your game, and I think you need the Express edition of Visual Studio, which is free. Yep. And then you need the XNA framework, which is in beta.
It just came out 2 days ago, isn't it? 30th? Yeah.
The 30th. You take that stuff, and with a little bit of knowledge and even following some tutorials online, and like Chad said, there's forums and there's websites devoted to it. You can jump in and start making games.
See, this is cool, because this is yet another win for Microsoft over Sony, because Sony has, as everybody knows, for the past over a year trying to squash homebrew on their PSP. Every time they crack it, they come out with a new patch.
So wait, if I'm just sitting at home and I program something for my Xbox, what's the media format on an Xbox? Can I burn my own DVD?
No. It's only you're only able to transfer it over like the network or USB to the Xbox. You can't actually put it on media and put it on your own disc.
Oh, good.
I think they're also going to have some sort of online way of sharing.
You can't sell it out of the trunk of your car.
No, you can't sell it out of the trunk of your car. I think this is only
whatever. Dude, eBay is the trunk of your car. You just throw it up there. Here's an FTP site.
I think the long-term goal is to give developers an indie dude to make a game in your basement and then bump up to the next version. Instead of Express, there's a pathway to migrate to the next version. That's a long-term plan, and eventually, get your game on Xbox
And beyond
Live.
just like the indies and hobbyists, actually, this could find some use of like the EAs or the Ubisofts for doing like rapid prototypes of games. After someone makes their homebrew game, they're going to be able to share it somehow online through either Xbox Live or something like that, so you can give it to it's only like a single-player game because the networking stuff is only for the indie developers, the higher guys. But
okay, still it's something, man. It's a start.
No, because this is a big win because now the kids can show off their quote-unquote mad skills programming and
that's right.
Maybe get a job with Microsoft.
Show some drag and drop, baby. Point and click, and get you paid.
No, we've demonstrated on the show the only way to get a job with Microsoft is to start a podcast.
What were you going to say about the PSP there, Chad?
Oh, yeah. Sony's kind of weird in their homebrew thing because they've been putting down the PSP homebrews, but yet they had a Linux kit for PS2 for the hobbyists.
Right.
You could actually go buy a version of Linux that ran on the PS2 and you could go program and, make games. And also for the PlayStation, they had a version of the PlayStation called the Yaroos, which they released in Japan, which programmers could use.
It was like a black version of the PlayStation that was like $400 instead of $200 or whatever.
Yeah, it was like double the price, and you could program on it. But
it was essentially a dev kit.
Yeah, and it was a dev kit for hobbyists. But with the attitude in the PSP is just baffling. Well, the attitude, a lot of things recently has been baffling.
Next topic.
Factor crap. I've been.
Do I need my text editor?
I will never be able to remember everything.
I go last. Remember?
Okay.
Okay, so here's the deal. Welcome to the first Factor Crap for the GamerCast Network video game show. This week's Factor Crap contains 4 stories. One of them is fact. The others are crap.
These are always harder.
So there's 1 true and 3 false.
There's 1 true one. You got to pick the fact this time. So we'll start off here. All right. So our first topic here is Sony, everyone's favorite new whipping boy. Sony has announced that they're set to release a PSP 2 next year. Sony's gone on record stating that features include an 8 meg of internal flash memory instead of including an 8 meg memory stick. Also include a built-in camera and 2 analog nubs. That's 2 analog nubs instead of 1. The console will also be smaller, thinner, and lighter than the current PSP.
So with 2 analog nubs, that means it has nipples.
It does.
Okay.
It is no longer a uni-nipple device. Second, our favorite Factor Crap category, or at least mine is overseas silliness. Everyone's second favorite. Yeah, no, not Korea. Not Korea. In general, I meant overseas craziness. Our second favorite whipping boy, Rockstar, is set to change the name of their newest game, Bully, in Europe to help counteract the negative press that Bully has been getting. The new name, which will only be changed in Europe, is set to be called Dog Eat Dog. Next, Ubisoft has made a startling announcement today. Their new game, Assassin's Creed, is set to be a PlayStation 3 exclusive. Ubisoft reps went on record stating that in order to help promote the PlayStation 3, we have decided to make Assassin's Creed an exclusive game for that platform. Unofficially, however, the word on the street is that the exclusiveness is only for a short time, as they like to do, when it will then be released for the 360. And finally, Square Enix and Nintendo have announced yet another partnership based on the generally positive hype and good preliminary reviews of Mario Hoops for the DS, and also the runaway success of Squeenix and Disney's Kingdom Hearts franchise. The pair have announced that they'll be developing a new turn-based strategy game for the DS similar to Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. The game, tentatively called Super Mario Tactics DS, includes lots of your favorite characters from both companies. Characters from Square Enix will include a young boy and his talking chocobo, as well as your standard mages, thieves, and other classes.
As well as your standard dudes who are prettier than chicks.
Right. And the usual suspects from Nintendo, including Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Yoshi, Princess Peach, and a village full of the mushroom-headed characters, of which Toad is a member of. So there you have it, folks. Who wants to go first?
First one, PSP 2 is to be released next year. 8 meg internal memory, its own camera, and 2 nipples. Rockstar Games is to change the name of Bully to Dog Eat Dog in Europe only. Assassin's Creed is supposed to be at least a limited time exclusive to the PS3. And Square Enix plus Nintendo equals turn-based strategy game tentatively titled Super Mario Tactics DS.
Okay, who wants to go first? All right, how about we have our fearless host go first, Tom?
I'm going to guess. Well, see, I think all these have a kernel of truth. I think that's my little twist on this week, is that all of them are slightly true. I gotta figure out which is like the little tweak that Chris made that made 3 of them wrong.
Such is the challenge.
I know. I'm going with Rockstar changing the name of Bully in Europe.
Oh,
because I know I think they did do that, but
Keith, why don't you go next?
Tom is obviously wrong because that's what I think it's going to be as well. Anything that I initially think is what it is ends up being wrong.
Chris probably already knows the answer to this one, don't you?
So,
no, I don't.
Keith, you're going with the Rockstar thing as the true, fact? Okay. Chad, how about you go?
It's got to be the Rockstar one.
Dog Eat Dog.
Well, as much as I want to agree with the group, that's rather boring, so I'm going to pick a different one. Let's see. Square Enix plus Nintendo thing, that seems another turn-based strategy game and kind of be, no. How about I'll go with Assassin's Creed to be exclusive to the PS3 because I think that would be suicide for any game company to be exclusive to the PS3.
Ooh, good reason. I didn't even think of that.
Good choice. All right.
Yeah.
So we got everybody going for the Rockstar category except Bob. And as Bob is off to be the unlucky one of the group, he is the only one who is wrong.
I feel, yeah.
But he had a good
Yes,
reason.
he did, though. Sony is planning on releasing and this is where Tom's point comes in, a little bit of truth to some of these. Sony is planning on releasing in about March of next year a revised PSP. However, the only thing they have confirmed is that it will be lighter and thinner. People are speculating that will contain flash memory internally. The camera is kind of goofy since they're actually planning on releasing a camera and a GPS attachment later this year, so that probably won't happen. And dueling nipples is something that PSM Magazine actually just said would be something they would add if they were to release a PSP2. There you have it. Rockstar Games is actually changing the name. I modified it slightly because I knew if I put this in there, everyone would say, well, yes, of course, that's the true one because Ivan's stupid. What they're actually changing the name to is Canis Canum Edit, which in Latin means dog eat dog. But they are actually changing that name for the European release. Ubisoft, and this is why I wanted you guys to hush before, because Ubisoft has actually, at least according to several blogs, websites, and magazines, has confirmed that Assassin's Creed will be available for the Xbox 360, as well as the PS3 and the PC. And the last one, actually, I thought people would fall for that, because I wanted to create something that I didn't read anywhere, that I just completely made up, and I started writing it, and I thought, wow, this would actually be cool. I loved Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced.
Yeah.
I love all the little Nintendo characters.
That's the only reason I didn't pick it, is because it seemed like too good of an idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, that'd be sweet!
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
So Square Enix and or Nintendo, I know you're listening to our wonderful podcast. Go ahead and implement this idea and send me royalty checks.
Next topic.
Okay, I don't believe we have much as far as the mailbag, but now's a good time to remind everyone that our email address is vgs@gamercastnetwork.com.
206-984-GAME. GAME.
We don't necessarily have any mail, but go ahead and visit our forums. Those are up and running. Lots of people have been adding lots of cool stuff. We'll give at least one little ham sandwich shout-out. Xanzis, I believe is how he spells his name, has not only become our first full member, but he has since reached senior member status with 256 posts.
Oh my effing god! What? I haven't even posted once yet.
Right, yes. So, forums are doing very well. There's lots of people doing lots of different things. Lots of good content on there. Come join the fun.
GamerCastNetwork.com, GamerCastNetwork.com, GamerTech. I screwed it up.
Gamer Tag is not the name of the show.
GamerCastNetwork.com/forums for all of you lazy people.
Next topic.
We do have the polls up on the forums. I put a forum up there recently. What's your favorite console of all time? What's the console you've had the most fun with, whether you've owned it or not? The majority of you picked the Nintendo NES, as I did, just because that was the first real console that I had the most fun with. People like Chad put in the Vectrix, which I had to admit I didn't even really know what it was.
Well, I was just kidding, man. You didn't put that in there.
I'm
sure half people out there don't even know what the hell Vectrix is.
There was a couple people who said, oh yeah, the Vectrix! The NES won that poll.
And the lonely Atari got no votes.
That's right, I know.
You bought the Atari because you had to. There was nothing else. That's why people owned the Atari and played that version of Pac-Man. Bang, bang, bang! Bang, bang, bang! I hate that game. Now, ColecoVision was for the rich kids, man. You got Atari 2600, you liked it, and you bought your games from Revco.
That's right.
Radio Shack.
And not even the real Atari games, the Activision ones that came on the cartridges with the stickers on them. I hated those. Like Underwater Fish Swimmer Super version. It's just some dude with a spear swims around
Laser
spearing
blast.
octopuses.
Laser Blast and Kaboom!
Don't knock Kaboom. Kaboom was awesome.
What
game.
Jungle Hunt where you
I hated
stabbed
Kaboom.
crocodiles in the mouth.
I love that game.
Anyway, so that was the poll topic for this week. Next week, log on to the forums for the new poll, which will be up by the time this show is up and running. It's Xbox Live Arcade and Nintendo Retro games. What's your feeling on arcade and retro games distributed online, such as Street Fighter, Frogger, and Galaga for Xbox Live, and the huge amount of retro NES games that the Wii is planning on supporting?
Yeah, I know. How many times do you want to actually pay for this stuff?
Go ahead and log on to the forums, go to the poll section, and cast your vote. Let us know what you think of these things.
Next topic.
Well, Chris, thanks for being on the video game show this week. I hope you can come back next week.
Hope you can be a guest again next week.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you find the time in your schedule to come on the show.
Not too shabby.
That was show number 1 for Friday, September 1st, 2006. Check back next week at GamerCastNetwork.com.
Hey, Chris, Keith, Tom, Phil, Ivan, and Bob. This is Cobal's Dead here, and I have a question for Bob. Bob, I love your songs, man, especially the Emilio the Llama song. Love the llama. but when can we expect any more original video game songs?
Well, I went down to the corner store to find a game worth buying, but instead of an open door, big line to my dismay. Bumblefoot was at the lead, download gaming was their creed, 50 strong of soccer moms and a diabetic priest. OMG, are you all to lame? Can't you see they are just games? New Orleans looks like Rome for the war, and have you seen the Middle East? One by one they failed to shame. One of my kid is such a pain. Instead of buying a console, should have made him get a job. In spite of Jackie's desperate plea, the crowd began to quickly flee, and I was finally free to get Dead Rising just for me. I mean, something rated E.
Hey Chris, keep Tom the hell away from the editing.
Was a Snoop Cosby signing off for the week.